what is that psychological screening?
Right.
You know,
Right.
are they really accomplishing what they want to accomplish?
Right. Here's what we know about that. Here's what we see. Whoever that is reading the old textbooks. Okay. What we know now is that, and I still remember, and I wish I could think of Father Carey's name, but I have the politician's first name in my head, so I can't quite come up with it. I don't know if anyone else knows who I'm talking about, but he's in Seattle, and I'll send the name back to Father John. What was shocking to me that he told me about psychological tests for pedophilia. You would have to be so close to a person as you interview them as they're preparing to come into religious life, which I'm using brothers, sisters, or priesthood, right? You would have to be so close to them that they would trust you enough to tell you their deepest sexual fantasy. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we would not be able to determine simply on the basis of our psychological profiles as they are designed at this time to be able to determine whether or not someone is a pedophile. This is what we can determine from psychological profiles, and they have been successful in this, and that is in reading out, insofar as you can, people who may have some form of pathology. And otherwise, they're certifiably crazy, and we're not going to let them in the door, okay? I mean, I entered with a schizophrenic, and I happened to know she was a schizophrenic from the moment I first met her. I actually took 2 steps back from this woman when I met her. And the reason I know it is because my mother is a paranoid schizophrenic, and I was trained from my childhood because I was her attack object. And so my father had me very well trained in how to deal with my mother, how to be aware of her needs, and so on. And I was her caretaker, overseer, so to speak, overseeing her care until she died with me in Boston 22 years ago. So, that woman, it took the community forever because she read all the textbooks on the testing. And so I can still remember, and if you bear with me for a moment, I'll tell you the story. Helen Prejean was my novice mistress. There were 2 of us that 2 of these people went after. That woman went after. And we just went through. Ann Kolaski and I, God rest her head, is dead, spent so much time cleaning toilets, scrubbing floors, because this woman would come up with this craziness, and we just couldn't believe that Helen would buy hook, line, and sinker. Well, finally, they sent her to one of our convents where they regarded the superior of the house as certifiably crazy. This woman was in that convent for about 2 nights when the superior of the house goes, "You've got to get this lunatic out of my convent." So they immediately went into a whole other set of tests. So Ann Kolaski and I are on the bus with Sister Helen Prejean in downtown New Orleans on Canal Street. You know, coming from probably the East Coast Conference or something like that. And the French Quarter is to our right. We're heading outbound to our mother house out on Mirabeau Avenue. Doesn't exist, it drowned during Katrina. And she says to Ann and I, she was on the corner, and Ann and I next to each other, and went in some kind of tract. And she said, just very nonchalantly, "And of course, the 2 of you know that so-and-so was really crazy." And we look at each other, and she said, "And the community, of course, has sent her away. And we'll be continuing the community as the novitiate as we started." And we're both waiting for this heartfelt, "We're so sorry you suffered. So sorry I treated you so badly." And then she changed the subject. To which Ann looks at me, I looked at her. We were 2nd-year novices, and we stepped over Helen. Ann pulls the cord to stop it. Each of us stepped over her. We said absolutely nothing to her. We walked to the door, got off of the train, went to a payphone because it was pre-cell phone days, called the mother house, and informed the superior of that house where we were and what we were doing, and that we had just left our novice mistress on the bus. And we walked into the quarter and got a drink. Took off our crosses, put them in our pocket, and we went and had a scotch. We had just had And then we went home later. They said someone came and got us, and we did penance for that, and we were all set. You know, the fact of the matter is, if they're going to fool the test, they can. But I have one last comment, sir, about the bishops, what I was saying about the bishops. I'm saying that the same test that women religious, primarily, and they have some very specialized testing that they do, that they don't do for seminarians, for the most part, that those are the approach that should be used with our bishops. And I do mean that they should take the test. It's not about, oh, we got to publicize, we're going to throw you out of office, or anything like that. It's about what do they need to do to regain credibility, you see? We need to be able to know that they are sane. We need to be able to know that we are not dealing with people who are incapable of being empathetic.
Yeah, I wholly agree with that. It's just,
so that's what I'm saying about the
bishop.
bishop.
To do that. That's the other.
How do we do that?
No, yeah, who does it?
Well, in a sense, the police always have to police the police. So, in other words, we're going to have a team within the USCCB to do that. I think that's where we look to women religious in their leadership. Why? Because they don't have any testicular issues with the bishops. Do you follow me? I'm saying that politely. So, you know, I had brothers that I used to have to clean the bathroom, so I know how boys can comport themselves at times. Okay? So I think, you know, being subtle, but not too. But if you, I think to use, and I think that's where you use, frankly, the LCWR is called in to assist. And I'm not being patronizing to nuns. Why? Because the sisters will be trusted. And the sisters don't have any vested interest in their failure. They aren't going to be a bishop in your place. Where's the gun in my way? Okay? And so I think that's where we have to draw upon. Now, I do want to say this to you, which I did tell Father John. All of what I presented to you, as well as what I presented in Los Angeles, and some things I have not said here at all and will not say, I am sending to Archbishop Gonzalez of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles in his role as Vice President of the Conference of Catholic Bishops. I will be CCing it. I've told him this. I talked about it when I was in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. I will be sending copies as a formality to my bishop because I'm a theologian outside of a Catholic institution at this time. And fortunately, I don't think that'll have a bad reception since my bishop is both a psychologist and my classmate from college. So, and he's known me for much of my life. So I do think, and we do a lot of talk about, oh, the nuns have to help. I think this, when our bishops need credibility, we have to say to them, this is needed. We don't make it known when it's done until after it's completed, or that it has already transpired. And, I do trust the leadership, women religious leadership. And frankly, for the most part, I trust our bishops. We have a couple of people I think we ought to lose in a dark alley. But, most of them, they're good men, they're trying the best they can. And I think we have to remember, they don't have the skills for this. This is way past their league. What I am very grateful for, and, people can shoot me later, I am so very thankful that Francis is Pope. Why? Because he's a Jesuit superior. And I think somewhere down the line, those who know church history have got to know the Holy Spirit had a particularly humorous moment when Francis was selected, because all that the Jesuits went through at the hands of popes is amazing. To have a Jesuit who's the Pope, who's handling this problem at a time when Ignatius said they should in fact be, the army of the Pope. So they should be the workforce, and he's doing that. And I think we have to support it.